go. Trinidad coming out strong. And here we go, we're resuming the action. Trinidad getting pinned up against the fence by Vasquez. Vasquez says he loves throwing overhand lefts, as you'll see from the southpaw fighter, Vasquez. Another low blow, it looks like, but it doesn't look like Ray Ramos saw that. Here comes Trinidad coming up, pinning up Vasquez up against the fence. But again, this is not an MMA fight, so Ray Ramos is going to break that up every time they clinch. Trinidad does have a lot of MMA experience, so I can understand why he'd want to clinch, but again, this is a kickboxing match, so let's see what they can come up with. Ray Ramos having to adjust Hector Trinidad's headgear. Seemed to be affecting his vision. A lot of stoppages so far early in this fight. Both guys just coming out swinging, and not a whole lot of strategy here. They're just trying to back each other up, impose each other's will, hopefully pin up their opponent against the fence and then just throw bombs, which is what we've seen so far. It's a great fight for the fans. A lot of clinch work going on. Not a lot of distance strikes here for a kickboxing match. A lot of clinching action going on. Both guys just barrel towards each other until they get stopped by the fence. Hard left hand from Nico Vasquez. And again, they barrel each other until the fence stops them. They end up in a clinch, and then Ray Ramos has to keep breaking them up. This has just been constantly going on throughout the first round, so not a lot of fluid action, just a lot of spurts of action throughout the round that just had a lot of interesting moments, back and forth exchanges that would always get stopped every time they'd end up in a clinch against the fence. I felt like Nico Vasquez was a more aggressive fighter there. He had more moments where he landed stronger shots, and I believe he took that first round. But again, like not a lot of strategy, just both guys just barrelate towards each other until one of them gets stopped by the fence. They end up in a clinch, and then the referee has to break them up. Not the most technical round, but if you're a fight fan, all you want to see them do is slug it out, and they did have their moments where they did that when they weren't clinched up against the fence. Again, we have Nico Vasquez here, who's 30 years Again, we have Nico Vasquez here, who's 30 years old, 3 wins and 2 losses, fighting out of Goat Shed. Interesting nickname was the Nico Stacks Bungles. He owns a construction company down here, and again, he's a lefty. You're going to notice that. It's always interesting whenever you have a lefty against an orthodox fighter, because when that happens, you end up with a fight where it's a position of the outside foot. So in this case, you see, here we go once again with what was going on in the first round. They end up clinched up against the fence. Ooh, interesting spinning back fist there from Trinidad. Nico Vasquez unfazed, loves to just go forward and press the action. That's where Trinidad's had a lot of his success, is being with those few moments that he's able to get Nico pinned up against the fence and be able to unleash on them, but inevitably they always end up in a clinch, which causes them to have to be broken up by Ray Ramos and then reset back to the middle of the cage until they do it again. Hard kicks by both fighters. That one landed a little low, and we're going to have another stoppage in the action. not counting, but that's at least 10 times that Ray Ramos has had to step in here, and it's only been a round and a half. And remember, these are 2-minute rounds, so 10 stoppages in a matter of 3 minutes. Action's not very fluid right now. Ray Ramos having some words with Hector Trinadad, reminding him, got to keep those blows either down on the legs or up on the body, but not in between. Again, Hector Trinadad coming out of round 5 MMA, he even though he doesn't have much kickboxing experience in terms of fighting in kickboxing matches, he has fought many times in amateur MMA, last time being back in 2018, so it's not like he comes in here inexperienced. He's got a lot of combat experience, just not in purely kickboxing matches. Like I said, you know, when you come from that MMA background and maybe you're good at clinch work up against the fence and landing shots that way, well, you know, this is kickboxing. It's a little different. You're allowed to clinch for up to 3 seconds before the referee steps in to break it up. Neither fighter really keeping a long, sustained, distance striking matchup here, but let's see what happens as we resume action after the low blow. And again, there goes Hector Trinadad trying to adjust his headgear. That's happened about 3 times in this match so far. Nico Vasquez probably realizing Trinidad's having a little trouble seeing with his headgear kind of out of place and try to take advantage of that by landing some shots. Both guys really going after at it. This is like one of the longer sustained moments where we didn't have so much clinch work going on, and just as I say it, there you go. They end up clinching and getting broken up by the ref again. Trinadad trying to press Nico up against the fence again. That's a few moments that Trinidad's had some success in this fight is when he's been able to pin up Vasquez up against the fence. For the most part, it's been the other way around where Vasquez is either able to land shots in the middle of the cage or be able to land on Trinadad in the brief times where he's been able to pin him up against the cage. And here we go with another headgear adjustment from referee Ray Ramos. Another clinch and inevitably another referee breakup here as we're coming to the end of the second round. Again, very tough to score in this fight, inconsistent action as they end up in the clinch a lot of times. But I felt like, again, Nico Vasquez was the more aggressive fighter in the round. And in my opinion, he could be up 2 rounds to none. But some of these rounds are pretty hard to score. So it's hard to say one way or another who's winning. But I'd have to give a slight edge to Nico Vasquez at this point. Let's see if in the third round we can have them fight more at a distance and see if we can get a stoppage or a finish in this fight. As inevitably both fighters end up slugging it out until one of them ends up backed up against the fence, and then the other one just kind of falls into a clinch until the referee steps in. And here we go. We're about to start the third round of this fight between Hector Trinadad and Nico Vasquez. So there's been some good action, but a lot of clinch work, a lot of referee Ray Ramos having to step in and break up the fighters. Let's see if we get some more distance strikes going here in the third round as Vasquez starts off with a hard kick to the body. Trinadad returning in return, and here we go ending up. Oh, look at that. Referee didn't have to step in that time. Let's see if we can get some more distance strikes going here. Nice aggressiveness from Trinadad. But again, Vasquez wraps him up and pins him up against the fence to reset the action back to the middle of the cage. Smart move from Vasquez, because a few moments that Trinadad's had success in this fight is when he's been able to pin up Vasquez against the fence. So, and that's a good strategy by Vasquez. Not giving Trinadad to play an opportunity to play to his strengths. You'll notice that a lot. Every time that Vasquez ends up with his own back up against the fence, he'll clinch up with Trinadad and spin him around and get the referee to step in to reset the action back to the middle of the cage. Hard kick from Vasquez. Another headgear adjustment from Trinadad. Both fighters There we go again with Vasquez pinning up Trinadad up against the fence in order to force the stoppage to the reset back to the middle of the cage. There you go again. Same thing. Every time that Trinadad backs up Vasquez against the fence to try to land the barrage, Vasquez wraps him up, turns him towards the cage, and forces the ref to restart the action back in the middle of the cage. I do feel in this third round that Trinadad's tried a bit more to land some more strikes on there, but there's been some good gamesmanship by Vasquez, knowing when he's at a disadvantage and enforcing the reset as we get to the last 10 seconds of this fight. Very close fight. I mean, that last round I'd have to give it to Trinadad, but I feel that Vasquez should win this fight 2-1. But we'll see what the judges have to say about it. And the judges are handing in their decisions to the referee, and we're going to take it over to ring announcer Robert Johnson for the decision.
Very frustrating to watch. But it's not a true kickboxing match. They're not fighting at a distance at all. They're just like running each other until they end up on the fence.
Right now the commission is tabulating the judges' scores to give the totals over to our ring announcer, Robert Johnson. And we'll find out who the winner of this match between Nico Vasquez and Hector Trinadad is. Stay tuned here at Premier Fight League 26 as we still got a total of 16 fights tonight. That's just the third one. We got another 13 matches coming your way, including one more kickboxing match and 12 MMA matches coming up tonight. So stay tuned here at Premier Fight League 26. expected, 2 rounds to 1, the winner, Nico Vasquez. Again, he was a more aggressive fighter the first 2 rounds, and Trinadad was able to take the third, but as expected, Nico Vasquez with a victory to move his record to 4 wins and 2 losses.